You know, part of me is really regretting putting that poster behind me. Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to an all-new Talkin Movies. As always, I'm your host, the real Gino Reynolds, and today we're going to be talking about the first new movie to open up in theaters since the world turned upside down. Today we're going to be talking about Russell Crowe's Unhinged. I know a lot of the bigger theaters opened up this last weekend. I know the AMCs a few towns over are opening up this weekend, and the ones near me in my town are opening up in 2 weeks. But our local theater, the Avon, has been open for a little while now, and they were showing classic movies, but they were able to get this movie, so I got to go check it out. I will warn you, I'm probably going to talk spoilers at the end of this review. I have to talk about the ending, but if you don't want any spoilers, I will say this. For me, it was worth going to check out. Is it a perfect movie? No. But if you really like Russell Crowe, you're going to love him in this. He is scary. He is unforgiving. He is cruel. And he's just... I'll put it this way. His character reminded me a lot of Michael Douglas's character from Falling Down if he had succeeded. Okay? If he had succeeded in his going home mission, this might be what he turned into. So if you liked Falling Down, where of course you're not rooting for the villain, but the villain is so entertaining you can't help but watch, that's this kind of movie. So yeah, I recommend it. I know critics are ripping it apart. Look, I'll say this, it's not the most original movie, but Russell Crowe is driving, for lack of a better term, driving this movie forward, and for me, it was worth checking out. What you have in this is Russell Crowe plays a man that, at the very first of the movie, you can tell he's about to do something bad. It's raining, and he's outside of a house, and he's taking pills, and he busts down the door and murders the two people inside and burns the house down. You do find out that it is his ex-wife and assumingly her new boyfriend or husband. Later in the movie, we meet our main character who is going through a divorce. You hear her talking to her lawyer about how her soon-to-be ex-husband wants the house. And basically, as someone that's been through a divorce, I can tell you how frustrating all this is, right? Where you're kind of nitpicking over a lot of little things. So there's that going on. Plus, the future ex-husband lets down the son by not being in town to take him to like a ball game. And then she has gone through all this bad stuff. She's late for her job. She gets fired from her job. She is like a traveling hairdresser. She gets fired from that job, so she's not having a great day. Well, she gets behind this big truck that isn't moving in the intersection. It sits all the way through a green, and she starts honking, and then drives around. Well, this truck, of course, just so happens to be driven by our I just murdered my ex-wife and her new dude, Russell Crowe. Who does confront her. The sun rolls down the window at first, but then the window doesn't roll back up, so they have like not the nicest car. So the window's broken, so of course he can just keep talking to her, and they can't really do anything about it because they're stuck in a bit of a traffic jam. He asks for an apology. He's like, look, I'll apologize to you if you apologize to me. And she basically says, I have nothing to apologize for. If you've seen the trailer, you've seen where he talks about, here's give a little, I bet you meant to give a courtesy tap, not just blare the horn at me. She's like, no, I didn't. So this leads to him basically going, lady, you've never had a bad day. I'm going to show you what a bad day is. And that's where the movie gets going. Russell Crowe basically becomes her nightmare for the next hour or so. By the time you get the movie, everything set up, you're looking at 10, 15 minutes or so. And then the rest of the hour and a half runtime is Russell Crowe being this woman and her family's nightmare. First and foremost, I mentioned it already. If you're going to see this, you're going to be seeing it for Russell Crowe. Look, Russell Crowe is one of those actors that still to this day is a bit of a chameleon. Yeah, you know it's Russell Crowe. I'm not saying he's unrecognizable, but he's one of those actors, like a Christian Bale, for example, that will change his body and just become someone completely different. You know, you got him, muscular in Gladiator, and then all of a sudden he's, kind of a schlub like this guy. Granted, he in this, I think his size plays to his advantage because the people he interacts with, he's taller than, he's bigger than, and it just makes him more intimidating. And that is the draw of this movie, is Russell Crowe's intimidation factor. Just the way he talks to people. He's nice to people at first. Jimmy Simpson is in this as the main character's lawyer and one of her best friends. And he interacts with Russell Crowe, and they're talking, and they're just bantering along. But then when the conversation turns bad, it's just Russell Crowe's character can kind of weasel his way into someone's, so you can weasel away someone's confidence, or he can bring the confidence, right? They're really confident to talk to him. He breaks down their barriers, and then he breaks them down in other ways. We'll just put it that way. And Russell Crowe is at his best in this movie, as he is in a lot of his movies, where he becomes this character, and it's frightening. His character literally and figuratively pulls no punches, right? It doesn't matter if it's a kid. It doesn't matter if it's a man. It doesn't matter if it's a woman. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a deleted scene in this that deals with the main character's mother, because they mention her mother is like in a living facility, where it does lead to where her house is empty, and that becomes one of the sets. But they talk about the mom being in the living facility, and I had this bad feeling that Russell Crowe's character was going to go there and not pull punches there, if you know what I mean. Because he just is just terrifying in this movie. There's a scene where he hits the main character, Rachel, and her son, and they show the size of his fists compared to their face. Let's just say, I mean, it's like, if you look at a picture like Andre the Giant compared to someone else, right? It's like he's just so much bigger, and just whenever they show him like hitting someone or something like that, it's just crazy terrifying. And so for me, seeing this movie for Russell Crowe alone is worth it. I thought he was fantastic in this. I'm a big Russell Crowe fan. I mean, obviously, I've got the Jackknife poster behind me. I'm a big fan of Russell Crowe, and I really liked him in this. Could other actors have played this part? Sure. Would other actors have been as terrifying? Yeah, there's probably some, but Russell Crowe in this, I'm not saying the other people in this movie aren't good, but he is the one that leads and carries this movie. The movie does try to have a bit of a message to it about maybe being a little nicer. The whole opening sequence of this is talking about distractions on the road and road rage, and how the world seems to be getting a bit crueler. So they do try to have that message at first, and overall it's there in the movie, because especially the ending kind of plays with the you made a good choice this time, kind of thing on the road, right? But it tries to have that message, but other than at the first of the movie, it doesn't really force it. I was kind of glad for that. I was afraid when the opening happened. I liked the opening of the movie, but I was afraid it was going to just cram that message down your throat the whole time. But no, it becomes about a mother trying to who. Well, by the way, she is mean to Russell Crowe's character. I will say that she is mean. Does she deserve what she gets from Russell Crowe's character? No, she doesn't. But she is mean to him, and it's just basically saying you never know who you're gonna badmouth. That's kind of the message of the movie. It doesn't say like everyone you badmouth on the road is going to be this way to you. And that's why I was afraid the movie might do. But no, they set up Russell Crowe's character as again he murders two people at the very beginning of the movie, so you know he's, well, for lack of a better term, unhinged. You know he's not with it. So I don't know if he's looking for an excuse. That's something they don't really cover, and they don't need to. He at that intersection baiting her? We don't know. Is he at that intersection just kind of lost in his own thoughts? We don't know. I have a feeling that's the way I saw it. He was kind of lost in his own thoughts because he's on pills. I don't know if it was the night before or a couple nights before, but he just murdered two people. So, I mean, he could just be out of his mind, just out of his thoughts, just kind of, somewhere else. I don't think he was baiting her because I think if she would have apologized to him, this movie wouldn't have happened. Because he was nice. He's like, there's a courtesy tap. I bet you meant to do that. And she's like, no, I didn't. I meant to be mean to you. And he's like, fine. Now you're going to learn what a bad day is. So, does she deserve what she gets? No, not even close. Because he goes after her friends, her family, her kid. Again, I thought he was going to go after her mom. Because they bring up the mom, and I was like, oh, he's going to go to that living facility, isn't he? So yeah, the movie itself, it doesn't force this message. It becomes more about this woman trying to survive. There's times there's some things she does that it definitely telegraphs a little bit. Things like she doesn't have a password on her phone, and her reasoning for not having a password was just like, I can't remember what it was. She got locked out or something, and she couldn't get it back in, so she just took the password off. Well, of course, this leads to Russell Crowe being able to get into her cell phone. I mean, it's something, and the kid does tell her, Mom, something bad could happen, and of course it does. But there is some things that the main characters do that aren't the smartest. But again, this movie is just I would call it a fun movie. It's an entertaining movie about survival, about you pissed off the wrong person, and now he's after you. What do you do? He's gotten a couple of steps ahead of you. What do you do? It's one of those kind of movies. You've seen movies like this before, but Russell Crowe definitely makes it entertaining. I will say this. A lot of the car scenes were okay. There is some crazy crashes and stuff in this. There's a cop gets hit. Whether they're trying to flag down a cop, and he ends up getting hit by another vehicle, and you're just expecting his car to flip. Oh no, he gets crushed. The movie is definitely it doesn't skimp on the violence. I will say the better scenes with Russell Crowe is when, the majority anyway, I'm not saying he's not good inside the car, but I think the majority of the scenes where he's outside of the car are better. There's a diner scene. There's a couple of scenes within houses where he's terrorizing the woman's family. You just get to see how creepy and crazy he can get. And so the movie is better outside of the vehicles. That being said, being in the vehicles makes a lot of sense because of uh, how this whole event started. Um, Again, I know a lot of critics are ripping into this movie, and I get it. I really do. I can understand people not liking this movie. I can understand people not thinking this movie is original because, again, you've seen a lot of this in other movies. That being said, if you're a fan of Russell Crowe, check it out. Give it a shot. If you can find, like the Avon I'm going to are doing $5 showings. If you can catch it for cheap, go see it. It's well worth going back to the theater to go see something like this. It's an hour and a half. Once it gets going, it doesn't stop until the end. And I will talk about the ending here in a second. So again, big spoilers coming up. But for me, seeing someone like Russell Crowe do a part like this, where he just gets to be unleashed, it was well worth it for me. Given that the story again isn't the most original, but you have a scary villain who you can't look away from, and you still root for the good guys even though the villain is that entertaining. It's that kind of movie. Again, if you like something like Falling Down, this might be a pretty entertaining movie for you. There isn't really a cop side to it like there was in Falling Down, but you do have the scary villain who you can't look away from and a hero that you will root for in the end. Now I want to talk about the ending, so big spoiler here. There's a couple of things at the ending that I wouldn't say it took me out of the movie, but it didn't. I don't know if it really fit in the movie. The movie's overall tone is mostly scary. Once the bad stuff starts happening, at the first you see Russell Crowe murder his wife and her husband / boyfriend, whatever he is. I don't remember if they specified or not. But right when you get to the end, during the last battle, which I loved the last battle, it was great, and even the ending was great, and that's why I'm being a little forgiving for this. Our hero, at the beginning of the movie, she's looking for these scissors, the candy cane scissors. They have a candy cane handle is what it is. And she has it on her. They're going to come into play. And of course they do. What she does with them, you could probably imagine. But whenever... Okay, big spoiler. Whenever she makes the final blow to Russell Crowe's character, she drops a one-liner. Well, that being said, I loved the one-liner. I thought it was fantastic. I don't know if it fit this movie. It would fit something that was a bit more comedic. She jams the scissors in his eye. He starts to get up because of course he does. And she says, "Here's your courtesy tap," and smashes the scissors more into his head with her foot. And again, I loved it, but I don't know if it fit this movie. I didn't expect a one-liner, like a one-liner kill out of this character. That being said, he'd been screwing with her the entire movie, so she earned it, right? Also, there's the very end of the movie where they're driving and they're going to get cut off. And they get cut off, and her hand is like 2 inches, 1 inch away from the horn. And her son's like, "You made a good choice, Mom." And it's kind of funny. I mean, it's a bit of a lighthearted moment. Again, it doesn't ruin the movie. I just don't know if it fit. Look, again, this movie is not perfect. This movie, for me, though, was still very entertaining. If you get a chance to see it, definitely take a look. I wouldn't blame you for waiting for rental. I wouldn't blame you for waiting for a cheap matinee. But for me, as a welcome back to the theaters, it's an hour and a half movie. It's entertaining the majority of the way through, and Russell Crowe is awesome. So for me, it was worth checking out. That's going to be all for this edition of Talkin Movies. If you like what you've heard here, please subscribe to the Real Gino YouTube channel. Like this video. And you have anything to say about Unhinged, please feel free to leave a comment in the section below. Until next time, I'm your host, the Real Gino, Gino Reynolds. See you later.